Hello and welcome to Daily Politics, reaching you from Trust TV here in Abuja. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. I am Suleiman Suleiman. Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing the rolling crisis of leadership in the APC. This recurring issues in 1 week. So much has happened in the APC in 1 week. Between last Monday and today, it will appear as if, it's been maybe 1 day. You've had 3 party chairmen, so to speak, within that period. You have Buni 1, and then Bello, and then Buni 2. So what's really going on?
So we thank God everything going on in our party is being addressed, and by the special grace of Almighty God, by the 26th of this month, we are going to have our convention. Like you said, nobody is an island. It's a learning process on a daily basis. So Buni is back in charge of the party, and when he was leaving for his medical treatment, he gave a handover note to the deputy, to the vice, which is Bello. So he's back. But
Bello said he never received that letter, and INEC too said that they never received that letter.
So in that case, however it is, we have Buni in charge of the party. He's going to lead us into the convention, and the convention is going to hold on 26th of this month. Whatever internal issues we have has been addressed. The president of the country, who is the leader of this country, who is the leader of the party, is absolutely in charge of the situation, and everything has been resolved. Maimala Buni, His Excellency Maimala, the governor of Yobe State, Maimala Buni is in charge of the party. He's going to lead us into the convention, and by the 6th of March, we're going to have our party convention successfully.
Thank you. That later, first, it wasn't mentioned in the news. Erufai did not mention it, when he appeared on the TV to say that this is what is going on. And then it came out later. And then the person that the letter was supposed to have been addressed to, the incoming chairman of the party, that is, caretaker chairman, the governor of Niger State, Sani Bello, he said that he never received that letter. And then INEC too came out to say that they did not receive that letter. They were not copied to that letter. What is the legal basis of that letter as a lawyer?
No, as far as I'm concerned, look, I don't know the law. I know as I know it. I don't know that each internal communication within the party must be communicated to INEC. If today the chairman is going out for something, definitely leadership abhors vacuum. So there must be somebody to act. And I don't think because the chairman is given somebody to act, there is any requirement that such acting he must transmit a letter to INEC. I'm not aware of that. After all, this is a caretaker committee, but by the constitution of the APC, each principal officer has a deputy or assistant as provided by the constitution. And that constitution is in the custody of INEC, and it says when that person is not around, the deputy or the assistant, as the constitution calls it, is going to act in that capacity. So, and as whether...
Are you saying that INEC is being overbearing legally or interfering too deep into the affairs, internal affairs?
Yeah, for it to say that it has not received a letter. But understand the situation. Probably INEC may say that where it received a communication, let's say from the acting chairman or the acting secretary. Now, because maybe in trying to ensure that there are no problem in the party, it may say that it was not aware that the chairman is away, something like that. But I'm sure if the party, let's say, assuming this leadership is leadership that is elected, the attention of the INEC should be drawn to the constitution of the party, which by the provision of section 223 of the constitution is being kept by INEC, that they don't need to send you all those communications. That is my understanding. So this is the way I look at it. And as for the issue of whether His Excellency Governor Bello received it, I mean, these are leaders of the party, and I don't think it's proper for me to come and join issues on. But the most important thing is that this crisis, what has revealed is that to us, is that still the people of this country, their confidence lies with the APC. That is why a small crisis in the APC is seen as a crisis of Nigeria. PDP had its crisis, but nobody cares about it.
Maybe because APC is also governing.
Yes, not only it is governing, because people see it as a party that will continue to govern. Okay. So anything that affects it affects the Nigerian people. This would give us some confidence and happiness that we are going to form another government. And in any way, what is politics without contestation? It's all about contestation. That
is well said, like a party man. But, you know, we're in election year, so we will see what Nigerians will decide in the meantime. But part of the reasons why people were concerned about this was that maybe within the party there was an aborted coup, that there was a coup by some elements of the party to remove Buni, in order to have Governor Bello in there. And that coup failed because the extant legislations did not permit it to go ahead. So is that what's going on? Is there that much division in the party that, you know, and President Buhari actually said that these people should stop backstabbing. Is that what's going on?
No, I don't believe there was any coup in the party, you know. I think the only thing that came into the public was that there was a court injunction that was not known to majority of party members that was discovered, stopping us from going ahead to convene our convention by 26th of this month. So when that was discovered, I think a lot of party men were not happy with that incident. But currently, even the issue is over today. There's the news out today that court injunction has been vacated. So the rancor, I think the rancor in the party, within this period that all these shenanigans played out was because of some of this discovery that was made. But absolutely everything is, I'm sure, I'm good that, you know, the party is in the right direction to holding our convention, and by 26th of this month, it's sacrosanct. We're going to have it by God's grace. We're confident about that.
Thank you. So, Barrister, let's go to that injunction. The injunction says that the party should not hold its convention at all, you know, indefinitely at all. What does it mean for a court to rule that a political party should not hold its own convention? Does that have a legal basis in the country? Is there any legal basis for that?
No,
and secondly, what about the process of vacating a court order? Most people like myself would not understand what that means.
Well, in the first place, I cannot sit here to serve as an appellate court to the decision of a high court. Whatever it is, an order of court is an order of court until when it is vacated. And I think for me, I had the privilege of not only reading the court order, I have seen the processes filed. I have seen the record of how the thing worked. I think more of the fault is from the lawyers that are sent to represent the APC. With all respect, I think much could have been done to draw the attention to the court to some issues. And after that, they're absent from court when the case was adjourned. Or rather, not their presence and then acceding to an adjournment, which the other lawyers sought who was not in court. I think those are the issues that will really be worrisome to us, and sometimes you wonder how some lawyers carry out their duty. But as for like you said, the implication of a court order is a court order. And
so is this one going to be obeyed?
We are obeying.
Okay.
As at now, aren't we obeying? We are aware of it, but mark you, once we go back to the court and my lord see reason to vacate that order, after all, it's an interim order.
Okay.
It is not a judgment of court. It is an interim order pending determination of the suit.
Okay.
So it is something that can be vacated by the same court. So once that order is vacated, we'll go ahead with our convention.
And this is possible between now and the 26th of December,
Very,
because he said
very
earlier that
possible.
definitely you are holding the convention on 26th, right?
No. I don't want to use the word definitely.
Okay.
It's my prayer. I don't want to preempt. I don't know what the court will do, but I pray that the court, the lawyers of the party, will do all what is possible to persuade the court, for the court to see reason to vacate that order from that day. That is our hope. But as at now, because the reason why he will say that, because we have already communicated to INEC that the convention is going to hold on so day. That is without knowing a court order will come. But then, is there a court order today? Yes, there is a court order. Is there a notice to INEC? Yes, there is a notice to INEC. So the two things are there, but we hope, of course, the court order take precedence over our own decision of the party. But I think the party has a robust legal department that will do all what it is possible to persuade the court and see that that order is vacated. And I hope even the person, the gentleman that sued the party, will go and withdraw the suit entirely. That's my hope.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing the politics, the presidential politics, with this time around, not on the APC, but on the side of the PDP. And with me is Mr. Paul Ibe, who is spokesperson and media advisor to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. You're welcome once again, sir.
Thank you very much, Suleiman.
Yeah, thank you. So let's maybe start from the general, before we move them to the specifics. Some people are saying that the APC, the ruling All Progressive Party, they're engulfed in crisis, but the opposition PDP is not taking enough of the opportunity of that. They are not seizing the moment, to get ahead of the APC in the minds of Nigerians.
It was clear from the beginning that, the ruling party, was a contraption. It was a special purpose vehicle, that was coupled for the purpose of, wrestling power. They were not adequately prepared, for governance. And it's like having a vehicle, Tokumba vehicle, that cannot go the distance. You're putting it on a long journey, and sooner than later, so that is overheating, or the shaft or something is going wrong. So that's why you've seen all manner of people have there are memes about the APC, and from all promises cancelled to all progressive confusion. That's the state of the party, and it's a reflection.
So not all progressive Congress, but all progressive confusion?
I don't know where they're progressing to.
Okay.
If what is going on in the country presently as we speak is a measure of, of what they had, set out to achieve. I am sure, for example, that the Daily Trust TV is running on generator as we speak.
Yes. But it has always been like that. It was like that during the years of the PDP as well.
It has never been this bad.
Okay.
It has never been this bad, but you cannot compare. This was a party that came on the mantra of change. And it's expected that this party will be run a transformational government, And it means that you will not have a recourse to what it was. You will not do like they did. You're trying to change, attitude of governance from, the corruption and the security and the economy. Those three things were the key these things that they're talking about. What is the state of the economy? I just learned that diesel is 800 naira per liter. Public power supply is nothing to her right. There is non-existent. There is no fuel. There is no electricity. There is no food. There is no security. What are they going to offer us?
So that's precisely why Nigerians are asking that what is the PDP going to offer Nigerians, between now and next year, or particularly next year and beyond, that is different from what we know now, but especially different from what Nigerians know of the PDP before 2015?
Well, what the PDP will offer, as represented by His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, is an inclusive government, to start with. People have been shunted out of, relevance. And when you run a country like Nigeria, the kind of diversity that we have, for a responsible leadership, you need to take cognizance of the fact that you have to run an inclusive government. We have never been this divided in this nation. I don't know. I'm above 50, and I can't remember the last time. I'm probably not young enough for the Civil War, but we have been so divided. And so, on that basis, what are you going to, if you run a government of people that are not together, unity is very key. So you have an Atiku Abubakar that is coming together as a unifier, as somebody that has a knack for bringing people and managing, men and materials. He has a knack for, scouting, bringing the best talent wherever they may come from. And indeed, there are talents all over Nigeria. But you need somebody, a leader who can, who has that capacity to be able to attract, those people. You need somebody who has a vision. I don't know about this administration, whether they even conceived, whether there was a, whether there was a plan, whether there was a policy document that, that would drive their, governance. So as we speak, Atiku Abubakar's policy is in the works. It's been updated. For every election he has run, he has always had a policy document so that he will articulate, these are the problems, these are my solutions, these are the strategy that I'm going to use in achieving all those things. That is what it's all about. You are prepared, and ultimately, a man, a woman cannot give what they don't have. So Atiku Abubakar will be providing leadership because we've never had one in the last 7 years.
Interesting. No leadership at all?
The leadership has been on sabbatical.
Okay. So before we get to that point where Atiku will actualize all of these things, he will first of all win his party's ticket, the PDP. So the process begins there. So, but even there, the thing is, people are saying after the PDP had their convention in October, which was a good thing to have had it earlier. But since then, there has been silence. There's been no additional significant step forward into the elections after the party's primaries. For example, there is no, after the party's convention, for example, there is no calendar for the party's presidential primaries, which is the next thing most people would expect to see, particularly now that you have an electoral law that advises that parties should have their presidential candidates 6 months to the election. So why is the PDP stuck in where they were since October?
The PDP was not stuck.
Okay.
Every party has to take its cue from the umpire, INEC. There was no electoral law until about 2 weeks ago or thereabout. There was none. And so the parties could not plan for anything. Whatever they are planning must be in tandem with, the guidelines of of INEC.
But there was an existing electoral law before the amendments.
But that law was going to change.
Okay.
And the parties, I mean, they were mindful of that. We were not going to operate, everybody knew that law was going to, it had its limitations. It was going to change. You would not plan with the old law. Do you understand? Now that law has been passed, the INEC has rolled out its guidelines, the parties have, they have come out, smoking, so to say.
Thank you. So one of the sticky issues in your party, particularly leading to its presidential primaries, we'll come to other aspects of this election later on, is the issue of zoning. You had a meeting, a retreat in Ghana, and also earlier, on Monday, and so on. None of which there's been no agreement coming out of that. What are the key issues that is preventing the PDP from reaching an agreement? Because without that clarity, don't you think Nigerians would not be able to know what the PDP is offering?
The stakeholders, every member of the PDP has a fair idea of, how, they want this process to play out. Okay. So it's all politicking going on right now. But I believe that there will be a consensus. There'll be an aggregation, towards the center, and people, all of the issues, that are before the party right now, whether they're of zoning or whatever, they're going to resolve those issues.
Are you saying that the presidential primaries will be decided by consensus?
No.
Okay.
I haven't said that.
Okay.
I'm saying that they will reach agreements on all of the issues that are confronting them. They will. The PDP has, over the years, since it came into inception in 1998, they have robust mechanism for dealing with every of the issues. They've not been found wanting. They will address all of these issues.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we are discussing issues around whether or not the storm is finally over for the APC leadership crisis and what that means for the party's presidential primary election, which, of course, the PDP is already ahead with. So I normally start my discussions, we normally start from the right and then end with the left. Barrister Ibrahim has been here several times, so he's aware of that procedure. So, Honorable Sharif, even today alone, there's been a series of back and forth coming out of the APC headquarters. First in the morning, we saw a letter that said that the secretary, Senator John Akpan Udehe has been, sacked from the party. And then later again, we saw another letter saying that some people the convention committee has changed, with some members shifted. And then a refutal, a kind of rebuttal to that letter from Buni himself that this isn't true. So how is it possible to have one leadership of just 13, then you keep having this crisis over and over again?
Well, Balo Suleiman, thank you so much for having me this night. First, I would like to start by saying that, when party is actually ruling in a country, it's always bound to have problems, and it's always bound to have misunderstanding, conflict, clash of interest, and what have you. And APC cannot be an exceptional. And you remembered during the PDP administration when some sitting governors, G7, walked out from the National Convention venue, and you all remember what happened in Nigeria at that time. And because that didn't actually happen because it was a ruling party. And today, what is happening under APC is because of clash of interests that is coming from every direction and every angle. I remember APC is a political party that came from 4 children, the defunct political parties, ACN, ANPP, CPC, and ABGA partially, and later new PDP joined, made it 5. And all these political parties have different blueprints, and different way of thinking, different ideologies, and what have you. And of course, you have to expect misunderstanding between these people. And everybody will come with his or her interest. By the time you bring in 5 interests together, there has to be clash. And that's what exactly happened in the party. And there is no way, as a family man, if you have problem in your family, it's not outsider that will come and resolve the problem. It's you, as the head of the family, that will resolve this crisis that you're having. And the problem we're having in the party is not something that is not that can't be surmountable. The party have machineries that will resolve all these crises. What you saw today, in the morning you saw the party release some standing committees of the party. Later, you know, the national chairman himself returned back from medical trip yesterday night.
Yes.
And of course, he has to carry along everybody's interest for peace to reign in the party. Under normal circumstances, nobody can sack the sitting national chairman unless they call for neck meeting. And the question should be, who have the authority to convene the national the National Executive Council meeting? And who authorized it? And we have all seen the response from the INEC. This is one. And secondly, when the national chairman was traveling, did he hand over the party to somebody in the party or not? And of course, which he did. He asked the governor of Niger State to act on his behalf.
He asked him after the governor had started acting on his behalf?
No, before he even traveled. When you look at it, on 28th of February, the national chairman, His Excellency Governor Maimala, wrote a letter.
The caretaker chairman.
The caretaker chairman wrote a letter to authorize Governor Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger, whom is a member of the caretaker committee that is representing North Central, to act on his behalf, to work along with his chief of staff, the national secretary, and other caretaker committee members to run the affairs of the party. This is one.
Okay.
And secondly, before he travels, the party had actually planned to inaugurate, to swear in all the 35 states and FCT, with the exception of Sokoto.
We'll be coming back to that now.
Okay.
Because, shortly, because that's one of the key things that has been retained by the Buni-led committee, or let's say Buni 2, because you sort of have Buni 1, you know, from June 2020 to end of February. And then you have Bello, and now you are having Buni 2. The difference between that is what we all know, which is part of what you are trying to explain now. But we'll come back to that right now. Okay. Barrister, Honorable Sharif mentioned that the father, you know, of the 4 or 5 children, yes, you know, that if things are going well, everything like that. In the context of the APC, the father is the President Muhammadu Buhari, and he is, in fact, the highest office holder of the party. Yes. So even if you're having a NEC meeting, he is to chair that meeting because he's the highest office holder of the meeting. So should it be, if things are not going well in a family, and that the children are fighting here and there because of different interests of maybe each of the children rather than the interest of the family, who should we blame?
Well, thank you very much. My friend here has said it all, and if you give that scenario, that when there's a family feud, and you know, we don't expect anybody from outside to come for mediation. Internally, the father, being the leader, you know, of the family, should know his family disputes, attitudes, you know, an issue that comes up, and he should know the processes, how to make that house comfortable. Well, we have political intrigues. In what's obtaining now in our party is, have a lot of interest. And this is the first time in Nigerian political history where we have, as rightly mentioned, 5 political parties. And these 5 political parties, all of them, they have their manifestos, they have their interest, they have their various leadership.
But they're supposed to have, that's what the coalition was supposed to have solved.
I'm coming in.
At the point that they emerged, all of these differences were supposed to have dissolved.
Yes. We're human beings with interests. This is politics. This is not the business orientation. So once you have interest in politics, there's that selfishness, and you cannot take away from it. But when there's dynamic leadership, justice, equity, observations, reconciliations, that can calm down the situation, as you are trying to say now. But issues whereby some, they feel they want more than the other. And the issue of animal farm happen to come in between in a kind of political scenario as I'm trying to...
some party members are more equal than others.
Thank you. This is politics. It's so dynamic. It's never straightforward. So that's why the interests come in. And somebody will never tell you, yes, I have different interests with you. But the attitude, the circumstances, that will make you feel like, yes, Mr. A has different interests with the way we are taking him before. So as I've said before, this is the first time where we have 5 political parties march in one. And these 5 political parties, as I've said before, they have various leadership, interest, but now they have to merge in one. And that's what we call them legacy parties. And that's that time when we're doing the merger processes, that nobody, no political party, no any of the legacy parties has the right to go elsewhere. After the bond has been executed, to go and talk about either CPC, ACN, AMP, or what have you.
Agenda.
To avoid what's obtainable now, so that we should be one. And successfully, as God will have it, nobody envisaged victory. But as God will have it, we become victorious. We're now the governing party. So, and ordinarily, if you look at Nigerian context, when you put 5 Nigerian characters in one house, not even that you being the leader of the house, even if you are the grandfather, in Nigerian mentality, you hardly solve that problem.
Okay.
Because I was saying before, there's individualist kind of attitudes, understand their interest.
Thank you. So, but Honorable, let's carry on with this metaphor of a family and father and his 5 children, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it quite illustrates what we are seeing today. So some people would have said that in one situation, you have a father receive some of his children. They told him A, B, C, D, and then he accepts and even signs some papers. And then shortly afterwards, that set of children came again, and they say A, B, C, D about the previous set of students, set of children. And then the father accepts again and says, and then signs off that one. What does that say about the father? Does this say that the father, what does this say about the father?
The father is a human being.
Okay.
Just like yourself or myself or himself. He's a human being that have to listen to everybody. He cannot shut his door to anybody in the party. All his children are equal before him. When the first set of the children went to him, he looked into their own argument and accepted.
And sacked Buni.
I'm coming.
Okay.
Not sacked.
Okay.
Nobody can tell you that he sacked Buni.
Okay.
See, the presidency have its own spokesperson. If there will be any message from the president, you know the channel of the communication that message will come from. Either Femi Adesina or Garba Shehu. Or Bashir Ahmed.
So El-Rufai was lying?
What? No, I'm not talking about El-Rufai here.
Okay.
When president talks, when you want to tell me something to convince me, if it's from the presidency, allow the spokesperson of the president to speak, not any other person. 1. 2, the governors also, they have the Progressive Governors Forum chairman. His Excellency Governor Bagudu of Kebbi.
Of Kebbi, yes.
If there will be any communication from the Governors Forum, it has to come through the Progressive Governors Forum chairman.
Okay.
3, the party have its own spokesperson. There's a method of communication from the party. If there will be any kind of communication, There is a channel for that.
All of this you are saying is pointing towards one thing, Barrister Ibrahim, that the message that the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, gave that Buni had been sacked was null and void because it didn't come
Can you
through.
show me any evidence where Buni was sacked?
That's what he said.
No, what I'm saying.
just quoting him. All Nigerians know that.
But is there anywhere Mr. President wrote officially or either, in fact, officially, through either his own spokesperson or even through a letter to that effect? No. One. And secondly, see, most of these people, the leaders you are seeing, are already beneficiaries of this party. The people that have not benefited under this political party are people like myself, himself, and others that we are. If somebody is a governor, he has benefited from that party. If somebody is a minister, he has benefited. If somebody is a senator, he has benefited. There has to be a platform for one to become president or a governor. And if you destroy that political party, there will be no platform for you to ride on.
Okay.
But if you destroy, we will never forgive that person. As a young person that have invested so much in this political party and have made a lot of sacrifices, that have worked so much on my own part. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
I'm a national secretary of APC Aspirants Forum, a forum that comprises over 9,000 aspirants under APC.
Does that mean people who contested election?
I'm telling you, that are duly registered. It's registered. A group. Those that pick nomination form from under APC. We have our own leadership, 25 National Working Committee members, 18 BOT members, 11 escorts in all the 36 states and the federal FCT. And also we have escorts at the 6 geopolitical zones, 10 each. Is to tell anybody that you see on that platform is an aspirant. What does that mean? That forum was created because of the way and manner Oshomole treated the members that vied for various positions across the country. And that time, if not for the sake of that platform, that even Mr. President himself constituted a committee, ministerial committee, a reconciliation team, headed by Malemi, the President Attorney General, and Minister of Justice, with the likes of Senator Hadis Rika, Malam Adamu and co. Adamu Suleiman, Minister of Water Resources, and others, have met with us several times. Farouk Adamu Ali himself. And later, Mr. President had to organize a dinner to us to appeal to our members nationwide and mandated us, the leaders, to go around the country and reach out to our own fellow aggrieved members to reconcile with them.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing issues around women's participation in 2023 elections. Women in Nigeria constitute half of the voters, and previous experience as well as research has shown that Nigerian women are quite interested and quite active in terms of voting. They troop out during election days and wait in line in the sun and in the rain to vote. But when it comes to voting for, when it comes to standing in elections, women tend to disappear. So today we're asking why, and what can we all as a country do about it? Stay with us. Haja, as we were saying earlier, just before the program starts, we have many, the 2023 election is looking clearer by the day.
Very well.
You know, the APC convention is finally going to hold, pending whatever happens in the court, right?
Yes.
And many people are already picking up their forms to be this or that within the party.
Exactly.
But the PDP are even ahead already because they have done their convention and they are already selling forms for the primaries, including that of... but so far, there have been, few women, going for the national offices. What's happening?
Thank you for having me. And I want to clearly state here that the discrimination, it's so high that women do no longer have confidence in the system. Yes, some women in themselves, and then in the politics generally, because we are highly discriminated upon. Yes, they see politics as a male business. Yes, and then it takes a lot of courage for a woman to even come out to say she wants to take part in politics. There is this, you know, traditional, religious, and societal impediments, exactly, that makes the woman always at the back seat when it comes to issues, especially politics. When we were growing up, very, very few women were into politics because traditionally, especially in the northern part of this country, yes, and in so many parts of the country, women are supposed to be at home, taking care of the home front, and so were not allowed to come out to take part in politics. And so this is what is still happening. But civilization, education, and other factors are changing that narratives. But we still have a very, very long way to go. But we are still pushing. We won't relent. Yes, we won't.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I wonder what the men will say when you say you will not relent, you know, because when a woman says,
we will never give
women
up.
say they will not relent, it tends to scare men, isn't it?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I want the men to see us as partners in progress. We are never rivals. No. We can't rival our men. No, but they should have us by their side when it comes to issues of national development that concerns us. I want to tell you that the population of this country has more women than men. So how can you discuss, make policies that affects women, and then you are leaving women behind? They should see us as partners in progress. Yes.
So some people are saying part of the problem is that women want to gain advantage that will not be available to men, and that itself will become discrimination. For example, when you want some seats allocated to women only, you know, if you have those seats, that means that men will not contest those seats, you know, because they're specific to women. So some people are saying that, you know, you cannot solve one discrimination problem by replacing it with another discrimination problem.
No, that is not true, because as I earlier mentioned, it is seen as a male business. And so we are now trying to have more women into the system because we are partners in progress. We go to the same school, go to the same hospital, go to the same market, go to the same business area, everything. There is nowhere you go to and find only men doing it. We do it together. And so we should be involved in national building, decision making, and everything that concerns both men and women. And I want to tell you that women are bridge builders. We are mothers. We handle family better than men. And the society is made up of family. It's a bigger family cycle. Yes. The men have where they should be focused at when it comes to war, other things that requires muscles and physical strength. But intellectual issues, women tend to have more capacity, I want to tell you, than men. Yes, things like decision making, because we have empathy. Yes, we are softer in nature than men. And so I think there's nothing like discrimination. This business has already been a male business. And so to bring in women, you need to devise some soft landings. Yes, for them. Yes, And so if some certain percentage of seats are allocated to women, it's being empathetical.
Okay.
It's not being discriminating against any male or something. Already they have the majority.
Okay.
So just give us some few so that we are not seen as enemies. We are not seen as people who compete against each other. If you allocate some percentage to the women, we won't look at your side.
Okay.
Are you getting me? We say when all we are saying is equity.
Okay.
Yes.
Not equality?
No.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes. When we are advocating for less than 50%.
Okay.
Does that indicate equality?
No.
So that is equity. Yes. There are places where we'll say, let's have 50-50.
Okay.
But when it comes to politics, we're saying just give us 35% and you take the rest. That is not equality. We're talking about equity. When you are equitable, there will be no fight. Yes, there will be no fight. So that is what we are saying.
In practical application, let us say that this additional 35% seats.
Yeah.
So in the Senate, that will amount to say maybe 25 or 19, 20, 21 seats in the actually almost 30 plus seats. You know, 31, 33 seats in fact. You know. So if you have these 33 seats, you know, in the Senate, you know, how are you going to allocate them across the states? Because, you know, in Nigeria we have 36 states, and then each state already has 3 senators.
Yes.
So for the Senate, how are we going to divide this up?
It's just going to be for 3 senatorial zones, you give 1 to women.
Okay.
Yes, that is just the calculation. Every state has 3 senatorial zones. Okay. You give 1 to women. And then the women compete for that 1. And the allocation will be made by the men themselves.
The PDP, they're selling they have already started the sales of forms for the primaries. And according to the Electoral Act, the primaries should hold, I mean, INEC should receive or should have the list of candidates for all positions by parties in the general elections by early June.
Exactly.
So that means there's almost no time for the primaries now. So what chances do women now have within the APC where even the convention has not yet been done, let alone the abandon, to grab offices of state, you know, from where we're coming from?
Yes, our chances are bright. Okay. The Progressive Women's Conference, I told you earlier, has put in place so many means, yes, to help women. They are already preparing for women who want to contest into various offices. Okay. Yes, they have asked any woman that wants to contest to submit her name to the office of the National Women Leader, and we have done so. And we believe that they will put in machineries, yes, that will help actualize that for many women. So I want to believe that we are ready. Yes.
So beyond the trust fund, which you mentioned earlier, what kinds of machineries would that entail, especially in light of the UN Women Office in Nigeria saying that they want to support women candidates to participate? How would these forms of support appear like?
As I mentioned earlier, there's a means by which capable women are identified. Okay. Yes, and then they will be. There's also a mentoring. Okay. Yes, there's mentorship program. Okay. Yes, by our topmost female politicians. Yes, to those aspiring into various offices, and then there's also an institution. Yes, that is being set up by the Progressive Women's Wing. Yes, to get interested women. Yes, to like train them
Okay.
on how to achieve success in elections. Yes.
Interesting. That's but we so far, you know, we both the Electoral Act, this new Electoral Act says that you can spend up to 15 billion naira to become president of Nigeria, you know, for governors up to 5 billion and so on and so forth. And already we can see indication of that, because in order to buy even the nomination form for the PDP, which is not in power, the cost for that is 40 million already.
Yes.
So probably, you know, we expect that, given by, you know, previous situations, maybe that of the APC might be 50 million or even higher than that. How does this work for women who want to go into these offices, who want to contest these positions?
We have women who are captains of industries. We have women who are business moguls in their own right. Yes, and we have women who are capable. Yes, anybody that wants to go to that office must be somebody capable. Yes, and so I believe that we have women who can pick up such responsibilities.
What about fundraising, say, from Nigerians? You know, that, okay, I'm a woman candidate. Can you donate money to me? Do you think that can work?
It's part of what the Progressive Women Congress wants to achieve.
Interesting.
Yes, that's like a trust fund to support women who wants to contest into various offices but might not be capable. And even if you are capable, you might need more support. So I think the Progressive Women wing of our party are already doing that. Yes.
Thank you. So maybe just before we round up, because we're just about rounding up now, one of the key resources for all politicians is media, you know, which gives them visibility and so on. But the relationship between women politicians and media may not be exactly the same as the relationship between male politicians and media. What has been your experience?
I will say it's another form of gender discrimination.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
But I want to tell you that the Nigerian media generally is gender friendly.
Okay.
Yes, whatever program we had as women is being fully covered by almost every media house or media company we call. And then generally, I would say the Nigerian media are gender sensitive. And I will commend them for that.
Thank you. I think it's good to know that we're not doing too badly.
No, you are not doing too badly. You are gender sensitive.
Yes.
And they have been supportive in our drive towards achieving more women in both elective and selective positions. I will commend the Nigerian media for that. Yes.
Thank you. But that still on the media issue, is the people in the media are one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is people who serve as spokespersons, you know, who actually interface with the media most of the time on behalf of their candidates or on behalf of the politicians, their principles that they represent. How does this work for women? Do we have many women in these areas, or do we have men representing women in these positions?
It's a men's dominated world. Yes, we have women doing that, but the men have dominated that too. But we are working towards having more women working for women. Yes.
Rather than
men.
And then maybe even more women working for the men as well.
Yes, even for the men. Yes, we can do that too.
Thank you very much, Hajia Zainab. It's been interesting speaking with you on these issues. And we truly, truly wish you well with your contest. And we hope that maybe next time we're having you, we will not be saying contender or candidate. We will be saying the Deputy National Chairman, APC.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Thank you also for staying with us as we go through yet another edition of Daily Politics, where we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. Because you come to us every evening, we try to be here for you and bring you all the issues, all the analysis, and all the insights, particularly for people whose voices have been marginalized, such as youths and women. We look forward to having you again next week when we bring you another edition of Daily Politics, and we hope you too will be there for us. My name is Suleiman Suleiman. Goodbye.